Hello and welcome to our latest episode of What's on the Horizon. I'm Lori Sharonbrock here with Chris Shooker of Digital Horizons. And speaking of what's on the horizons, what's happening at Digital Horizons? What's new?
So we've been doing a lot of new construction. I don't know if we. It's just. I mean, our involvement in projects changes all the time. But yeah, there's been a lot of new construction happening lately. Yeah. We still have a number of boardrooms and conference rooms that we're doing. In particular, we have two county boardrooms that were kind of on the cusp of starting. We're on one of them. We're in the phase of a lot of what we do is we include, just as part of our process, we end up consulting a lot and offering a lot of input and guidance on stuff. And we're working with one county right now on the cabinet drawings for the dais, because they're to accommodate what they want to do. And I think they just have really old furniture and stuff. They're updating the cabinetry and stuff in their boardroom. So they're sending us over plans and we review it and offer, guidance and markings and whatnot for the cabinet shop to make changes. And so we're going back and forth on that. And so we have that going on. And right now it's 2022 and it's in the spring, and we're having a lot of people come up and get ready for the summer, and so we're going through and updating and doing our normal spring checkups in some of the homes and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What seems to be new in the new constructions? Is there kind of a similar request, or are all of them kind of different?
They're all different. Yeah, I would say probably more. There's like an ever increasing demand on the network in the home.
Sure. Yep.
So which is what we always do. We're always installing robust, basically commercial grade networks and wireless access points for good Wi-Fi everywhere. Probably the same, if not more, requests for cameras for people to kind of keep an eye on things around their property. Yeah, it's hard not to have a bias on one project having a lot of requests and having that influence the overall thing. But yeah, I'd say that, and maybe more of an emphasis on outdoor spaces.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that.
More music outside and incorporating music into the landscape, things like that. That's been more of a push. I'd say a lot of the same, a little bit of some, a little more of some, that type of thing.
What are people wanting with outdoor? Is it the sound only? Is it TV, or is it like really creating like entertainment spaces outside?
Mostly sound. Yeah, I would say mostly sound. People are becoming more aware of, options beyond just slapping some speakers on the side of the home, which works. There's nothing wrong with that. So we're able to put music, throughout an entire outdoor space by installing speakers and landscapes, like rock-looking speakers or planter-type speakers. And so that's becoming more prevalent as we're realizing, and we're still in that phase now where we're still spending more time at home.
Yeah.
And so we're making those spaces more enjoyable and let's say a lakeside of a home, there can be just a big yard, or you can make it, a multi-purpose space with a nice fire pit and walkways and things like that. And so incorporating landscape audio and that type of thing in that space is more common.
Awesome. Do you find like it's spring in Minnesota, and so therefore there's still snow on the ground? Don't judge us. Do you often have to like come back to those, or are you guys able to kind of get in the ground now, or is it we can do all the inside stuff and then we kind of have to hurry and do all the outside while it's still
it's usually in phases. I mean, it depends on the time of the year. Like right now we wouldn't want to be outside doing stuff because the ground's thawing, but it's muddy and tough. Yeah. So some of the stuff we come back for, but it really depends. Every project is different. We just have to stay on top of it and do what makes sense, because half of the homes are new construction sometimes, and half are existing homes, and some they were constructed during the winter and they're finishing up in the spring, and so landscaping isn't going to start until May, for example. And so we'll be done on the inside a month over before the outside stuff starts. So it's generally a phased approach.
Are you seeing much in lighting trends inside? People thinking about that a little bit more?
Up here, the lighting trends take a while to adopt. We're seeing industry wide or just in homes in general in maybe the East and West Coast are lighting systems that have color temperature changing capabilities for just health reasons. So that's going to probably make its way to central northern Minnesota eventually, and we'll be a part of that when it does. But it's still, it's like with anything. There's always a trend in how long does it last? How long does it carry through? And there's also the dynamic of if somebody's building a home up here, statistically, they're not a primary resident.
Right.
And so that second home, that cabin, whatever it might be, is treated differently than a primary residence. Yeah. So extra things like human-centric lighting, things like that, or even like a theater room, a dedicated theater room, are lower on the chopping block.
Sure.
So while some of those things are possible and have great value to a primary residence, they're usually the things that are nixed in the negotiations or the budgeting part of a project because it doesn't meet their needs of we're only up here on the weekend type of thing, and we're outside. That's the common phrase we hear. We're outside 70% of the time. Why do we need this stuff on the inside? But
because you're gonna want it.
Yeah, you're gonna want it.
You're just gonna want it.
But that's the thinking when the home is being built. So
sure. How far in advance, when someone is doing new construction, should they bring you in? And so what is how it should be, and then how does it usually happen? I
mean, really, we should be in when they're, not necessarily in, but what we're providing should be discussed if you're working with an architect to lay out the home, if that's the scale of the home. It should be super early, at least thinking about the technology of the home. But oftentimes people think about the technology of the home, but like we were talking earlier, people don't know what to think.
True enough.
So oftentimes we have a lot of capabilities to tie things in and do some really cool things aesthetically, and that stuff takes coordination, and sometimes it takes coordination from the get-go. So it really depends on ultimately what somebody wants to do. But if I had a recommendation, it would be, find a trusted partner like us, if that's who it is, and talk about what can be done before you do anything. And then at least when you go through those conversations with the architect, with the builder, with your project manager, whoever it might be, you aren't left in the dark because those people don't know what's possible because it's not their job.
It's not their thing.
And so that's to the other point that you were making. What normally happens is somebody comes to us a month, 2 months, 3 months before sheetrock goes up. And it can be an uphill battle sometimes, depending on what somebody wants to do, of course. But as soon as possible.
Yeah, ideally that's the way to do that.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. It sounds like there's a lot happening and everything's kind of moving and grooving here. So if you have a project in mind, it's probably better to reach out sooner rather than later, either at their website or giving them a call. It's worth the call to do that. So thank you for sharing all that today, and we'll see you guys next episode.